Hi, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. This is Amy from With Love by Amy, and today we are going to use this Simon Hurley Create Birthday Candles Pull Apart stamp to make some looks like watercolor birthday cards. And this is a technique that I learned from Jennifer McGuire in her Technique of the Month on her Facebook group, Share Handmade Kindness. So we are going to get this stamp all set up in the MISTI, and because we are doing a watercoloring technique. We're going to use we're going to emboss it. So we're going to use the what the heck is it? This tool, the embossing buddy type of tool thing, and it is from Rabbit Hole Designs, and it just makes it so that the cardstock does not get the embossing powder any place we don't want it. And then we're using Versamark um, embossing powder or embossing ink. Sorry, my mistake. And we're going to get that all over, and it's going to be really hard to see when you're doing this. Like if you're doing it on white cardstock, it's really hard to see. That's why you got to make sure you ink the stamp up really good when you do the Versamark ink, so that you can make sure it gets everywhere it needs to be. And I'm going to try to look at it really quick and see if I think it got everywhere, because you can kind of see it if you hold it at an angle, and it looks good enough. We're going to emboss it in white, and I have this new embossing powder from Lindy's that we're going to give a try too. And we're going to just pour it on right over this piece of cardstock that is, you know, being protected by paper. We're going to pour the leftover embossing powder back into the bottle. That's why I put it on a clean piece of printer paper, so that I can just fold it and pour it back in there. And now it's been embossed. It did pretty good. There is a little spot I see there that's kind of messed up, but we will fix that up. All right, so we're going to use Distress inks. These are the only four Distress inks that I own. It's Spice Marmalade, which is the orange color. And the coolest thing about this technique is you don't have to have, like, it's not a skill technique. It turns out looking super cool, even without any ink blending skills. So you just want to make sure that your ink covers all the cardstock when you're doing this. So I just used mustard seed and I sort of blended it with the spiced marmalade. And then we're going to go in with picked raspberry. And I think picked raspberry is really pretty for this. And then peacock feathers is the last one. And when I do this on a card base and I know how many colors I have, I kind of just try to like evenly space them out so it looks like each one gets a decent amount of coverage. I think I kind of sold picked raspberry a little bit short there, but it's okay. All right, so this stuff, I don't even know what this is called. Jennifer McGuire made her own little spritz stuff with some glitter powder stuff, but this I've had for forever, and I got it from Stampin' Up! A long time ago. I think they called it shimmer spray or something like that, but it doesn't even have a label left on it. I just know that you shake it up really good. It has liquid and glittery stuff in there, and then you can spray it, and it's nice glitter spray type of stuff. So you basically want to, after you're done shaking it up really good, you want to get the cardstock really wet, um, so that it will move the colors around on there. And look, you can see there, I've been spraying it. That was what I was doing when it looked like I was doing nothing. I was spraying it. You just couldn't see my hand. It was off camera. So I was spraying the cardstock with the shimmer spray, and I moved it all around, and then I let it dry for hours and hours. And we're going to cut it out with these Lawn Fawn inside out stitched rectangle dies. And the cool thing about this is you can pick where you want your section to be. So if you see a spot that you're like, oh, I don't really like that, how the color went through, or I don't like where
Okay.
it embossed there or something, you just move your shape to where you want it. And then we run it through the die cutting machine, and now we're going to pull it out. And this is watercolor cardstock. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but it is watercolor cardstock. So there, it's looking really pretty, and it's hard to catch it on the camera, but it's very shimmery. So we're going to look for some sentiments now. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find a sentiment I like for this one right now, but we're going to just dig around. Let's see what we got. And I did make a second card. I didn't record it because it's the same exact technique. The only thing I did, and you'll see that card in just a second when I find a sentiment for it, but it is the other direction. Like I went landscape with it instead of horizontal, and I did, I believe, peacock feathers and mustard seed. So the mustard seed kind of made it look like the candles were lit, and the peacock feathers was the color of the candles. Turned out pretty cool. I like it. but I didn't do it with shimmer. I just did it with regular water. So that was the only difference. Jennifer McGuire does the cards in both forms on her video. See, there's the card. And because it's like greenish, bluish, I decided to dig around in my sentiment bucket and grab that sentiment that you see there that says celebrate. And we're going to make a sentiment for the other card now. We're going to use my Better Press plate there, and we're going to foil with it with my Glimmer Hot foil machine. And we're going to use the word happy from that little sentiment set that you just saw there from the Better Press. And we are going to use a scrap of cardstock. It works best to use smooth cardstock. So I have hammer mill cardstock. And let me tell you, you see me here using the cutter bee scissors a little bit to try to cut this foil up. And that does not work so well. The cutter bees are not good for cutting foil. However, my husband got me some long, sharp scissors that he said when he ordered them, they said Fiskars, but then they came and they had blue handles and like shiny, like iridescent blades. And they're awesome. Like this, see, look at me struggling with the cutter bees. Not a fan of trying to cut foil with them. They're amazing for cardstock, not so much for the foil. So we're going to struggle here for just a second. And then I'm going to try a different scissors. That's my big scissors, and they're working so much better. So I know I've seen people use other blades for cutting foil, but I don't have that. So here we go. Now that it's foiled, we are going to do the reveal, and it's amazing. This is the first time I've actually used that die. I bought it during the Spellbinders sale a couple months ago, and look how amazing that looks. It's not picking up the shine in the camera very well, but here we are. We're going to trim this down. And we're going to stamp the word happy from this Mama Elephant stamp set down on the lower right hand side with Catherine Pooler, whatever color that purple was. We're going to stamp that down there. And then we're going to trim this down a tiny bit and do some corner rounding. But here's a blooper of mine that I didn't take out. It doesn't fit. I didn't measure and it doesn't fit. So since there was a little bit of space on the end of each side of the sentiment, we're going to trim it down and then round the corners again. And let's see how that does, because we are making an A2 size card here. Oh, look, it fits now. Perfect. All right. All is not lost. We're going to put some foam tape on the back of that, and we're going to cover up where there's a little bit of a bloopery spot that I didn't like on the embossing. And then here is this panel. This is the one I just did with plain water. I didn't do any shimmer on this one. And then we're going to put the little green celebrate sentiment on there. My kids have lots of friends with birthdays coming up, so I figured I should update my stash with birthday cards. That's why I decided to do this for the theme of this card. The looks like watercolor cards. And I'm loving it. Like, this was super easy, and I also realized I need to add more distress inks to my stash. And then we're just going to adhere this to the card base. And when you glue this down with the liquid glue, you're going to, because it's watercolor paper, you want to like secure it pretty well. All right, here's the card with shimmer. Let me know which one's your favorite. And here's the one with just water. I think it's pretty cool. Let me know in the comments which one you like. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.